call. This is our sixth call that we've done this year, and very excited to have a new partner. So meet Danielle. She's the only person I know with two Z's in her last name. So Danielle, say hey, introduce yourself a little bit if you don't mind.
Hey, sure, no problem. My name is Danielle Gazetta. I am thrilled to be here. I've been a big fan of Byron's for quite some time. I've actually pulled him into a number of projects I've worked on. But basically, I own RevGen Marketing. We'll do a couple intro slides in a second, but I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So
Sorry,
yeah,
and Byron.
thank you, Danielle. So happy for her to join us. And no worries, Allie is fine. She's just did not have time this month, and so Danielle was very gracious enough when I asked her about 10 days ago, could you please join me? And I think she did an amazing job on some of the things that she's going to talk about today. So just to let everyone know, this is the final chapter of our second quarter theme, which was the catering army of one. Those of you out there that are fighting the good fight with minimal resources and minimal bandwidth, and whether you're working solo in your own in a specific restaurant or for a group of restaurants, or perhaps you're somebody that used to be like I was when I was at Honey Baked years ago, where you've got 400 locations in your organization and a sales team of you. And so I understand. And so all the things that we tried to build this quarter was to make you feel like, one, you're not alone. And then can we introduce some ideas? Maybe if you don't take them all, maybe if you only take 10 or 15% of them, they can kind of help. They can help build some efficiencies and build some success for you. And the whole concept of strategic targeting in the first place is designed to be we don't call everyone. So who do we call and when do we call them to hopefully give you some maybe some efficiency ideas that we can build in. So we'll go ahead and get to it because I know we have a full hour here. I'm hopeful we can get through it. But so we're excited. So there's going to be some exciting things that we want to cover today. But we know we've touched on it. Are you a catering army of one? I'm assuming many of you either are, or you may feel that way. Even if you're a group of two or three, you may get that sense of there's only so much time, there's only so much bandwidth. So what is it that we can do over the course of the quarter was to continue to give you shortcuts and efficiency methods and ways for you to duplicate you, so to speak, so you can get more done in the same amount of time. So thank you for everyone that's been able to join. I know we've had a lot of folks after the fact that'll reach out to me and say, can I get a copy? Can you send it? As always, this is going to be recording is going to be housed on the Catermind website. And on the last slide of the deck, we'll go ahead and show you how to sign up if you haven't. And if not, you can always reach out to me or Danielle, and we'll be able to get a copy over to you so you can see the presentation deck as well. So hopefully we've got some really, really cool things to be able to share with you today. So today we're going to focus on four main areas. I think as as Allie and I, now Danielle and I have kind of talked about what is it that we can do and how much can we squeeze in, splitting these calls into kind of 15-minute segments, I find is very helpful. That even though they don't always sit in that window, there's four areas we wanted to talk about today. The first one, which Danielle is going to handle for us, is the back to school planning. Schools are such a gateway to the community. We kind of always say it's that doorway to be able to generate a lot of catering sales if you can master it, because not only do you get the opportunities that are there and present, but there's so many secondary and tertiary opportunities that emerge from your relationships with the schools. Then we're going to talk about second party catering, which everybody's kind of like, what? What is that? We know what first party is. We know what third party is. It's just a twist on how we want to look at things. And yes, there is second party catering growth opportunities, and we'll explain to you what that means. We'll cover the lean July strategic targets for the summertime. As you know, how really weak summertime catering opportunities can be, but we think there's at least a couple for you to kind of latch onto. And then we're going to dig into using AI to self-manage you, self-coach you a little bit, and to help with use case identification. It's a game changer as far as I'm concerned, as far as helping you to make sure that what you're saying when you're on the phone is right, how to script your emails and your templates, and also for use case analysis. And we'll get into what that looks like. I've tried all three of the main AI tools out there, Grok, Chat, and Gemini, and they all do this service we're going to talk about a little bit later. So I think you're going to find it as a free tool that you're going to really want to grab onto. So All right, Ms. Danielle, the floor is officially yours. So share a little bit about who you are and what RevGen does for everybody.
Super, super. Well, hello, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me, Byron and Aria. As Byron mentioned, my name is Danielle. I'm the founder and chief growth hacker for RevGen Marketing. My goal is to drive revenue outside the four walls. Basically, I've spent the last decade as CMO for Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza, SVP for Smoky Bones, as well as head of marketing for a number of the Earl brands. And my sole responsibility was to drive butts in seats, right? Drive traffic into the restaurant, which is a very important part of what we do and how we make our sales. However, I quickly realized there's a huge opportunity outside of the four walls to drive revenue. And in my role as CMN, managing people and doing events and opening restaurants and doing marketing assets, didn't have a lot of bandwidth to think outside the four walls, and that's the case with many. We talk about a catering of one, a team of one, an army of one. You can only do so much and have so much bandwidth. So I started RevGen Marketing 2 years ago with the sole purpose of developing and executing programs that drive revenue to your bottom line. What does that look like? Obviously, catering, big program we're going to talk about today. Virtual brands, I've launched a number of them. B2B product, worked with an organization who had an amazing dessert and cake line, bakery. We brought them into US Foods. It was another revenue source for them. There's a lot of restaurants that offer 2 or 3 items for dessert. We opened up a huge revenue center for them. Again, retail shelves have brought products into retail, sauces, gravies, things like that. Food trucks, opportunity definitely over the summer, festivals, distribution centers, Amazon centers. There's 52 Amazon centers across the United States that have 5,000 employees that eat lunch and dinner every single day at their fulfillment center. I'm working with a client now to do a pop-up restaurant basically in their facility. Grab and go, food halls, pop-up experientials. I don't think you can go into a Publix, a Target, or a Walmart today without seeing a Starbucks or a cafe or a bakery pastry facility. So what you're seeing is restaurants reinventing themselves outside of their four walls to get their product out. Don't know if anyone saw the recent article that Shake Shack has partnered with Delta Airlines, and they'll be taking their burgers and fries to the skies. Talk about thinking outside the four walls. There's a great example.
So
We'll move on to the
Danielle,
next slide. Yeah.
do you work with individual restaurants, or is this more at the brand level when you're working with folks?
Everything, all of the above. Mom and pops 1 and 2. I just completed working with a 300 unit restaurant facility. That's the most recent catering program. I worked with them, stood up a catering program, did a pilot test, stood it up across all 300, some corporate, some franchise. And that program led to about $2 million in incremental profit in just 18 months. What's nice is my model is that when I come in and I work with restaurants, I don't come in and say, we need a new menu, we need new packaging, we need to do this. I work with what they have. So this group, 300 unit group, obviously had a great menu. They had no catering. And so what we did is we looked at the menu, we pared it down, we said, what delivers well, what has integrity, what are the big sellers? And we used what they had. Didn't create new SKUs, didn't create packaging, did some logo labels for the packaging. And really, there was really no additional costs other than me coming in and helping them. Just really smart strategic implementation to let them do what they do best, serve their guests. Another restaurant I did this for, 20 units. So it varies.
Okay, very cool. And so this mega melts here, just tell us a little bit because those look amazing. What is that real quick?
Amazing. I've had, but probably the best part of my career is that I've launched 5 virtual brands. Mega Melts is one of them. So much fun, just working from the ground up to create a brand. And really, what this allows a restaurant to do, right? You've got your restaurant space. You're already paying for the light. You're already paying for the labor. You've got all the resources there. We added at one client, we have one brand. We added 2 additional brands in their back of the house, serving 3 different brands out of one each restaurant. 67 restaurants resulted in 15 million in incremental revenue in the first month.
Cool.
So there's ways to really get at that extra dollars.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff there. One takeaway I have from this is if you're near one of those big Amazon distribution centers and you're interested in trying to do a pop-up restaurant, reach out and Danielle will be able to kind of help you. So one of the things that we wanted to talk through here as we kind of get into the back to school plan, I'm going to let Danielle go through her plan and just keep in mind there's a lot of text. One thing that when we wanted to start doing these is this was not going to be just a presentation. We wanted this to be almost like a training style format. So there's going to be a lot of text. Don't worry if you don't have time to read it. We're going to send you the decks out after, but we wanted to make sure there's enough information post call that you don't have to go back and wonder, what did they mean by that? What did they say? What was the second bullet? I don't remember, or I don't know my own handwriting. You will have it all on the page for you. So again, don't overly panic or squint or get real close to the screen. We'll make sure that we talk through it and get you some information over to you. So Danielle, I'm going to let you take the lead here on the 6 main points
Sure.
that we're going to talk through, and I'll let you go here.
Sure. Back to school is a huge opportunity for revenue, almost second to probably holiday time. So today we're going to talk a little bit about why back to school is so important, catering, B2C, B2B, the size of the prize, planning. It's important to set the foundation, and now is the time to start doing it. I know it feels like school is not until August, September. Now is the time to plan, preparing for what's coming, effective scheduling, which is critically important. We're going to have a plan for you to do that, and then obviously flawless execution.
All
Next
right, let's
slide.
dig in.
You can pop it up. There we go. Okay, why back to school is important. Well, one, there's a huge pent up demand for convenience. I don't know anybody who is a parent, you know that first month of school is a nightmare. It is very stressful. There's backpacks coming home, papers to sign. 70% of the parents say that back to school season is the most stressful time of the year. This is your opportunity to do some pre-packaged family meals, grab and go dinner, so that after school, after sports, moms can swing by and pick this up. It is really important. 80% of your revenue is going to come from school and staff events, but it is through that relationship that you will get to the parents. There's something called the halo effect, which stipulates that 40% of people who try a brand, either in a corporate environment, a hospital, a school environment, will revisit the restaurant either in a dine-in capacity or a catering capacity. This is your opportunity. I worked with one client. We really hit back to school hard. We had some great relationships with schools. They agreed to put a little postcard in the backpack for every student to take home that says, parents, don't stress, don't cook. We've got you covered. 10% off, come in, place an order. It was really a great opportunity to open up that B2C sector. High volume, this is where the bulk of opportunity comes, right? Most schools host 3 to 5 events in their first month. You've got teacher work days, staff training, open houses. Some of these things start 2 to 3 weeks prior to back to school. You can, make sure that you have group meals that feed 25 to 150 people, because etc. After school, a lot more opportunity to partner not only with schools, but with YMCA, tutoring centers, enrichment centers, daycare centers. So these first three kind of can all go hand in hand. B2C is more of a family bundle. The second high volume school is more of these larger trays, and after school programs kind of that medium offering. So you want to make sure you have something for everyone. Parents are
One thing
spending big.
Yeah, one thing I was going to touch on real quick before we move to the next one is the cluster of opportunities right at the beginning of the school year is very important, and it's to understand that if you can get in with those first 2 or 3 opportunities, you're kind of golden for the remainder of the year. And so, don't think you can start in September for school. It's really these first opportunities that kind of open the door. So yeah, very cool. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And Byron just hit on something very important. This is a teaser and a lead in to holiday business. First comes back to school. If you do that well and you secure that, you're going to move into fall events. We see the, football games, homecoming, in-service days, which is then going to lead to holiday business. So this is really setting the tone for the rest of the quarter, for the remainder of the year, which obviously we know how big Q4 can be. So lots of opportunity why back to school is so important. Next, we will hop into, I think, the size of the prize. So you can get a look at, there we go, size of the prize. Single location. These are small school orders, 3 to 5 per week with an average order size of $200 to $500. We're looking at a potential of $2,000 to $5,000. Larger 1 to 2 bulk events during the season, average order size $750 to $1,500. $1,500 to $3,000. That's with a single location. Multi-locations, you're looking here 10 units or so, $5,000 each, $50,000 in revenue. I mean, system-wide, that can go up to $100,000. So when I say it's lucrative right behind the holidays, there's opportunities there. Per location, from a B to C standpoint, your typical range here is $3,000 to $15,000 per location. So, you do the math, it's pretty good. It's pretty good amount of money that you
Well,
want
and
to
one
capture.
couple things I want to touch on here real quick. So traditionally, smaller orders, your elementary schools, your middle schools are going to be smaller orders. High schools tend to be larger, a little bit harder to sell to. The difference between the two is you're going to have a lot more elementary schools. So I always tell people if you're going to prioritize with the elementary schools. Not saying to ignore the high schools because there's football revenue and all the other things that go with it. It's just a harder sale because there's more competitors and fewer high schools to go around. But some markets you'll have 10 elementary schools and 4 middle schools for 2 high schools. Kind of that cone kind of narrows. So always focus on your elementary schools. That's where you're going to get the easiest sale because they're smaller staffs, usually more money for that. So very cool. There's a lot of opportunity, really.
Lot, yes. So planning, it's here. It's here. It's June 18th. Late June to mid-July is when you really want to get your ducks in a row. And here's what this is really a takeaway plan that you can use to build this over the next couple weeks and really hit it hard. So identify your target audience, right? We know schools, PTA, sports teams, staff training, after school programs, list them all. You're going to want to start close and move out to maybe a 10-mile radius. Define your back to school offers, bundles for family pickup, staff packages, like snack trays, maybe in the school afternoon for teacher meetings, things like that. Set your goals. What are your revenue targets? How many orders do you need? What is your average order size? And then, like I talked on the previous slide, audit your resources. Look at your catering menu and your packaging. Do you have what will fit a family bundle that feeds 4 that people can pick up? A trays that can feed, 50 to 100 teachers in meetings. Make sure that your catering menu fits for the needs of back to school. So we talk about segmenting school zones, proximity and size. Menu is critical for back to schools. They tend to be on a little bit more of a budget. So you want to look at doing more of that $10 to $12 person per head food costs. You want to look at that as you're building out your menu. You build your list, you look into family options, meals, boxes, and then you align your internal teams. It's very important that ops, marketing, and your store managers understand the back to school plan. It's slightly different from annual round the year catering and what they're going to do to make sure that it's successful. Because again, you're setting this groundwork for opportunities in the fall and opportunities for the holiday season. Get them now, you'll have them for the rest of the year.
If you're working in a single location too, sometimes ops and marketing and store manager may all be one person in that store manager personality. But if you're a salesperson, make sure your managers are aware of order potential, even if they're not booked yet, so they can start planning orders, inventory control, labor that they need, driver schedules, all those things. So don't surprise. Is all my philosophy is never surprise, because then you end up panic into how you have to do the execution piece on the back.
Critically important. That's why starting now will give you plenty of time. So preparing, right? Post July, early August, you want to start building all of your materials, training your teams, warming up your leads, make sure you've got your leads identified, educate and equip your staff, build your assets, build your materials. You should be communicating this through every touch point. LinkedIn, social media, website, email programs, if you do any kind of digital, but make sure you're hitting all touch points and make sure you get it out there. In restaurant literature, hey, back to school is here, we can help you. Great opportunity to do sample drop-offs, right? Go by a school, drop off a platter of cookies or a tray of desserts. It costs you what, 30 cents on the dollar? That is the most cost-effective marketing you can do. Leave behind a flyer, a business card, and bam, you're off to the races. We talked about making sure your behind the scenes training, upselling, the offers that they have might be slightly different than what you do all year long. So you want to make sure that your team is prepared. We've already talked about email and socials. We're going to talk about the schedule of returning back to work here on the next slide. But yeah, also create early bird incentives, right? First one out, hey, place your order now, let us lock you in, we'll give you 10% off, or we'll throw in a free X, Y, and Z. That's the opportunity when you're organizing out front and start early enough that you can take advantage of.
I love that one. Order early and get a free cookie tray. Something along those lines. You'd be surprised how you can lock people in early, and it helps the planning part of this very much.
Right. And it costs you basically nothing. So scheduling, you're going to want to start that mid-July through mid-August. Schools are back in session. Northern schools go back the week of August 28th, Mid-Atlantic after Labor Day, Southern schools the first week of August. But keep in mind, teachers and faculty are back in school typically at least 2 weeks prior to the start of school. So you got to back up your scheduling 2 weeks before, because that's where you want to start making your calls. You want to secure your advance orders. As Byron said, you want to make sure you have the proper staff for delivery, the logistics handled, the packaging outlined. So all this is in place so that you can flawlessly execute. Here's where you start your outbound calling. This is where I have relied on Byron and his amazing team to come in and help me because I'm good at setting up and leveraging catering program, but the outbound, I mean, he's got access to database with hundreds and thousands of names and leads and really has a well-trained team that can do that. And I have personally used him with a number of my clients. So work on some LTOs. We talked about book by X, get Y, and certainly you want to work on ordering, secure some dates in the future. Hey, once we do this well, there's homecoming, there's football games, and then obviously holidays.
And we may touch on it slightly. There's some traditionally you'll see the principal and a secretary administrative person, usually as much as even 30 days ahead of time. So sometimes it's the best time to stop by the school or drop off something because you're not going to be bombarded with a lot of chaos going on. So very important for the scheduling purposes.
And then obviously execution. We want to have flawless execution, early setup, early planning leads, believe it or not, to flawless execution because you're not going crazy at the last minute. You're going to deliver great food, great service to build a repeat catering behavior. It's important to collect feedback. I love this thing here. Follow up within 1 to 2 days after delivery. A lot of times deliveries happen, you move on to the next delivery, which is great. We want to do that, but it is important to follow up. How did we do? Can we do better? What can we fix? Because now you are getting the attention of the brand. They really cared. Now you're going to, if you have to course correct on anything, you'll have that fixed and ready to go for fall and into the holidays. Obviously, you want to track your results, see how you did, course correct for future opportunities, which you're going into the busiest time of the year. So a lot of this opportunity now with back to school gives you an opportunity to convert these one-time orders into long-term customers. So that's kind of it with back to school, but big opportunity.
Thank you, Danielle. There's so much. Listen, there's a whole lot of information there. If you are new to catering or new to the restaurant business, I know a lot of times folks will, you've made, this is your life dream. You've bought your franchise and now you're comfortable handling inbound. Here's some great ideas. There's a lot to unpack in those slides. And even if you're just able to achieve 20%, 30%, and just grow it year after year. One thing that we used to do, I always did in my restaurants, we always suggested others did as well, was keep your school list handy in the restaurant and then just edit it twice a year. Check with everybody right after Christmas. Make sure the principals still work there. Do it again in the summertime. So you always have that list and it becomes a center focus part of it. we always say that schools are the gateway to the community, and that's a big thing to kind of keep in mind. If you master your schools and you can get your catering teeth in there, the B2C comes with it as well. Things like coupons for accelerated readers for a free cookie or a free meal for a principal's list. Those are little things that you can integrate with your school because mom is going to bring the child to come get the free kids meal. Mom's likely going to buy a meal as well. And so therefore you're not really losing money, and it just creates this really nice bond in your community. So a lot of times you new restaurant, new brand in a market, saturate the schools and get the word out, and you will slowly and then quickly be surprised at how much people start to know who you are and your brand. So we always, this is one of our slides each month. We call it the elephant in the room. It's those one things that we always think about, but everyone's really kind of afraid to do or talk about for whatever reason. And this month I wanted to touch on referrals. Everyone always talks about the importance of referrals to grow your business. There was a LinkedIn chat that I got tied up into earlier this week, where someone was saying that cold calling has is changed. I guess no one answers their email anymore. No one wants to answer the phone. No one wants to do a lot of things where somebody drops by. You know, we have a lot of buildings are secure now. Our security guards are locked doors. And so there's a move away from cold calling. And, you know, my stance is if you can utilize other things, you may not need to cold call. If you can get your clients and then build relationships with them and expand your business through them, you would be surprised. And listen, we have a cold calling business. I know there's a need for it, but the idea behind it is that you can, if you can embrace some things like referrals being one of them, you would be surprised at how much you can really grow your business. So it's something that seems easy, but people get a little uncomfortable with it. I think primarily because they don't know their customers. I think a lot of times if you're afraid, if somebody's bought catering from you 5 times and you feel uncomfortable asking them to refer business for you, that means you don't know them. You haven't had enough conversations with them. You don't have a rapport built. And those are the kind of things, if somebody orders me the second time, we're buddies at that point. And that's kind of how you should approach it as a catering manager or an owner or even a general manager. Embrace that relationship, because guess what? Where there's one, there's more. I always say fish where the fish are biting. And if you know what kind of companies are ordering with you, look for more in that space. And people at an engineering firm know other people at other engineering firms, or they know, you know, so understand how this thing rolls out. So, and then what if you just folded them into your current rewards program? So that's where we kind of lean into second party catering. So if first party is you, and third party is someone outside of your restaurant that's helping you. So think Easy Cater. We talk about third party platforms, or we start talking about Cater Nation or Cater Cow, or all these ones that are kind of emerging out there. So second party must be the catering customer, right? If I'm first and they're third, the person buying the food has to be second party. So we want to talk about how to grow your second party sales is in the spirit of the catering of one. When time is tight and resources are few, the idea of getting others to sell for you can be very, very attractive. And that's the whole premise here, is working through your current clients to be able to uncover more catering opportunities. So everyone always talks about the referral and where it sits in the post-order world, but has anyone figured out how to do it well? I say the challenge is because we don't really know how to incentivize it properly, or we haven't. And I think if you have the right incentive in place, then even if you are not relationship wise comfortable asking this person if they would be willing to share your information with others, or if they know anyone at any other place that might have a need, this way you get to incentivize them to do so. So therefore you kind of take some of that fear maybe away. So the idea behind it, this is using this wonderful little Venn diagram idea that I had, is that you have your potential base of clients, and then you have your customers and their base of contacts. And where these overlap is where you have this second party catering referral list, people that your clients may refer your business to others, or maybe they'll give you names, and then you reach out and say, hey, Lisa said it's okay for me to reach out to you. I hope it's all right. So you get referrals in one way or the other. They give you names or they give your information to them. And so understanding, we touched on a second ago. So if you have an engineering company has ordered with you a half dozen times, if you talk to those folks and say, hey, do you happen to anybody in your circle that might need catering as well? I'm happy to put you into a reward program here if you can kind of help me get the word out. And a lot of times people at an engineering company will know people at others in the market, or they'll know, they'll have friends that might work in other businesses, or they'll have a spouse or family members that work in other businesses. So they're going to have an area of folks that they can refer you to, and some of it's going to be overlapping into yours. So it's a way for them to sell on your behalf and to reward them. So it's a different yet similar style of referral program. So if you have a referral program in place already, so maybe it's I do a $25 gift card when you purchase $200 or more. It's a referral program we have in place. What if you set up that referral proposal now and send it to your current clients? Hey, it's Byron from ABC. Thank you so much for being a client with us. I have some information. Would love it if you could share information with people you know in your circle that might have a need. And as a thank you, I'd love to give you a $25 gift card for every time that the first order that somebody places. And the reason we do things like a first order is you want to reward quickly after a win. You don't want somebody to get a prize 6 months down the line. There's nothing more frustrating than me when somebody says, hey, if you refer someone to me and after they've been with us 6 months, I'll give you a gift or I'll send you some money. And at that point, I've forgotten. After about 2 weeks, I'm done. I'm not going to remember anything. So the idea is you want to incentivize my behavior. And part of that is to reward quickly. So build up a proposal, send out to your top clients first, be creative in how you introduce it. Maybe you put it with a receipt in an envelope and you send it on with the delivery driver. Maybe you call them directly if you've got that rapport. Maybe you go visit them with lunch and you introduce it. But the idea is that we want them to help us. So make it easy for them to get a benefit. Make sure the benefit is of interest to them. So if for some reason they like to cater with you, but they're personally not someone who's going to dine in your restaurant, and ask them, say, hey, listen, I can do a $25 gift card from our restaurant, or I'm happy to do a $25 Amazon reward. Would that work? And then you can kind of feel them out. And if something else is preferred, that's great. I understand that you want gift cards out there with you in your restaurant to drive traffic. But if they're not going to be a customer that does, we don't want to diminish the opportunity of being able to drive some additional new catering benefits from this. So at first, focus on just the first order as you do this. And then if you want to do bigger programs, that's great. If you've got if you need a rewards program, we'll try to let me know, and we'll introduce you to Preet, who's part of the Catermind team, who's got a wonderful program called Cater Rewards, where we would love to get you introduced to them if it's something you would like to do. But try to incorporate it into your current system so you're not having to make anything complicated. So Danielle, I don't know if have you ever kind of dug into this at all? Not to put you on the spot, but I didn't know if you've ever done anything as far as referrals or I mean, you have to in your business, right? Word of mouth is everything, I would say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd be more than happy to give somebody a $25 gift card for passing business on. 100%. It opens up and then they refer and they refer. You can't even put a price tag on it. So 100%.
So if you're looking again, yeah, I'm sorry. But
no, yeah, go ahead.
Going back to that kind of catering of one mentality, if you can get your clients helping to sell for you, that if you've got 20 clients and all of them introduce you to 3 new people, that's 60 hot leads. How long would it take you to generate 60 hot leads on your own when you're doing everything else that you have to do? It's just understand the value of this. And again, you got to get yourself situated. But once you do, it's a really cool and easy tool. I'll go back to my honey bake days when I was a general manager in Baton Rouge. Sometimes I would go floor to floor. Hey, on the 3rd floor, there's somebody that's been ordering with me. So we're in here once a week. Do you know them downstairs? And if they did, or they'd say, go see somebody on the 6th floor. I'd go up and down, for an hour if I needed to kind of meet everyone. You've got to play to your strengths and know your customers. So that's the key here. You got to be comfortable in knowing your customers. So for some of you that might be newbies on the call, this is something we cover every month, is what is strategic targeting. It just means that not everybody caters. So our goal is to kind of thin out the potential targets that are out there. So you're focused only on the very best and whatever criteria we set and when to reach out to them. So we utilize something called the catering calendar to be able to help you to do that. Again, if you go to Catermind and you sign up there, there's one of the links there. You can get free access to the calendar. We give it to everyone. It's the tool we use at NCC to be able to help us to figure out when to call everybody. And then again, what are VBR sales? VBR stands for valid business reason. It means I'm not going to call and ask if you do catering at your business. I'm going to assume you do. I'm going to call and say, hey, this is Byron. I know we're looking at National Intern Day coming up at the end of July. And you guys have you? I talk to other firms, and they're usually hiring their interns. Have you guys got a group this year? Are you guys celebrating Intern Day as we get to the end of the month? I'm talking about a specific event. So we assume catering. We don't ask. We want to get right to the meat of the question. That model does work very, very well because you're calling in their listening window. Their listening window is at 4 to 6 to 8 weeks ahead of the event where you want to get in their ear and you want to talk to them, because if you were too early, they're not ready to listen. If you're too late, they've already decided on something else. And so it's understanding that 4 to 6 week window prior, Danielle touched on a little bit, that month before the back to school events take place, because that's about as early as you can start because there's nobody to talk to before then. But it's that window of time where you can really get out there. All right, so let's talk about June stinks. If you guys are struggling finding raisins to cater in June, I apologize. It's not my fault, but I do apologize because June stinks. There's not much out there. Nursing Assistance Week ends today, so hope you had an opportunity to do some outreach for that. Juneteenth is tomorrow. There may be some citywide or countywide opportunities and events that were taking place. Again, probably too late to go after it now. The last one is later in the month. It's called National Insurance Awareness Day. I don't know if there's a huge opportunity there, but if you want a reason to reach out to your insurance companies, a lot of them will do internships. A lot of them will do the large offices, the state farms, the nationwide. Those might be something to look into. But for the most part, June is very lean. So,
But
and
Byron,
again,
that's okay because you know why? This is a good time. June is a good time and even into July to ramp up for back to school, fall, and holidays, right? This is your time. You got a little extra time. Use it wisely to prepare for what's for the hurricane that's coming.
it is, because you're right. Once you get into August, it kind of speeds up like a freight train all the way till
Right,
about December 20th.
right,
And then it just
right,
falls off a cliff again.
right, right.
But the summertime opportunities, things continue to be lean in July, but there's a few interesting ones for us to talk through. Obviously, the back to school we touched on already. That's an important VBR for you. That should be your primary focus, which is why we led with that. Back to office. It's more of a mentality than an event. When kids go back to school, then vacations are over. Everyone's back in the office and meetings tend to ramp up for the second half of the year. So we'll touch on that. System Admin Appreciation Day is in July. Good IT opportunity, maybe for large companies, tech companies. The one I want you to kind of focus on, we've got it listed fourth here, but is National Intern Day. I do believe there's a lot of upside there at NCC. We got a ton of orders last year through accounting firms, law firms, engineering firms that were all having, and even medical that have a large number of interns and are doing meals to either welcome them, graduate them, or just to be able to say, hey, thanks for being a part of the team. So we'll go through these four pretty quickly just because I think a lot of them is a matter of it's easy to understand and how to incorporate into what you do. But back to school season starts right after the 4th. Many times that triggers the return of principals to their schools right after the 4th, the perfect time to get the ball rolling. So think new principal and teacher orientations. Those are both big opportunities at the district level, which Danielle touched on. Security and bus driver safety trainings are also two big ones to go after at the district level. So most schools have security guards now, so there will be a training. A lot of times there's also bus driver trainings at the beginning as they do transportation meetings. So at the ISD level, look into security departments, transportation departments. curriculum departments, as a lot of times they'll gather all of the social studies teachers across an area or all the math teachers, and they'll have meetings to discuss curriculum changes or textbook changes or whatever criteria might be moving. District meetings are also important. And then retail and uniform opportunities. We don't really touch on retail much earlier. And I think your Office Depots, it used to be Bed Bath and Beyond, but they're not around anymore. But any of those types of companies, where maybe uniform companies, Office Depot, Office Max, Staples, those types of companies, even Target took up a lot of that business that Bed Bath and Beyond used to do when new students going into the dorms need things, so they staff up for those types. So there are some retail opportunities, and honestly, it's a good test for Black Friday. If you want to utilize those, you've got a finite window. Back to school starts in your area at this time. I want to kind of put a back to school, I'm sorry, a Black Friday plan in place to test my model and see if we can get some retail orders. I think will help you as you get into Black Friday to repeat those behaviors that worked for you. So, but there's only so many targets in July and so many twists and turns that a strong plan is necessary to really tackle back to school, which Danielle, I think, gave you a nice solid plan and all the little details that you're going to need. So the next best is back to office. And so I guess a part of it is, as you're thinking through this, Danielle, as I'll read through it, but some tactics as far as communication or methods, and since you're in the marketing space, what kind of collateral could we create to kind of explain this? So vacation season's over, kids head back to school, offices get back to normal. This back to office season triggers many catering opportunities. Usually this is when meeting season begins to ramp up within an organization. So planning meetings, review meetings, they're all on the increase. So when looking for a great VBR, it can be, hey, so is the office there usually quiet in the summer when people are on vacation? But now as we're getting into July, it's time to start pitching hey, when everybody gets back and you need to have a meeting, we'd love to be a meal option for you. So it's kind of explaining through that. We know things are slow and quiet right now. Have you ever what kind of collateral would we want for something like that? Is there a way is it a one pager? Is it what do you think that?
Absolutely. I mean, I've done everything. Well, and CEOs want to be heroes. Look, they want to kick off a strong Q4. So they want to look great. They want to do some lunches. They absolutely are open to this. I've done mailings. I've done, you could do a mailing directly to the head of HR. And what you do is you incentivize them with the discount. And you then also can pass a discount on to the employees once you get catered. So, what meetings are board meetings, back to office meetings, mailings are great. You could do postcards, social, obviously email, lots of opportunity. LinkedIn is probably your best because it's that corporate environment where people are looking. So everything from social posting, organic posting on LinkedIn is probably the go-to vehicle for me for that.
Well,
But
and
lots of opportunities.
what I like about this kind of dialogue is remember it says a VBR. So you're calling in July because you say, I need to get some calls in. I need to get some things planned. And so when you're talking to offices going, we're not really doing anything right now. It's the middle of summer. It's like, hey, I get it. I know right now it's slow, but when do hey, we're back from vacation meetings start? And that's really where you can start to then plan. And they go, oh, well, we usually do something right after Labor Day. Okay, great. Now I know to reach out 3 weeks, 4 weeks before Labor Day. So now you start to kind of get a bigger plan. So remember, VBRs are not about making the sale. It's about initiating the relationship, getting some learnings, so then you can start to build and plan. I think what happens is we all expect, we want that amazing first call, but sometimes that first call will just give you the information you need for the amazing second call that's going to come up a month later. And so understanding how to pitch this back to office mindset, I think is very important.
And a
So
lot of it is just staying top of mind, Byron. Like top of mind, great. You make this call in July, you might not close the sale, but when you call back in August and she's like, "Oh yeah, we've got our board meeting right after Labor Day. You called me a month ago. Let's go. Let's get it on the books." It's just being top of mind, really.
Yep, and then be memorable. That goes back to be memorable. Just be memorable in the first call. Just be memorable, whether it's, and I'm in a positive way. Don't be negative memorable, but be memorable. Then when you do call back, to your point, you're already half the way there. So the last Friday in July is System Admin Appreciation Day. Not a huge opportunity, but it could be a way to tap into a tech company or a large accounting firm or anyone that's going to rely heavily on IT systems. I think it's very important that this is becoming more and more prominent. That most businesses will have the ever increasing systems department. I know AI is supposed to turn all that around in a couple of years, but right now, I think there should still be some appreciation opportunities in this space. The last one is National Intern Day. I think I touched on it a couple times already. It's a great VBR for accounting, management, legal, medical, engineering, anyone that's going to hire college grads that graduated in May, and they usually start hiring them in June. So once you get to that end of July, they're about 2 months into this equation, and so therefore it's usually a great recognition point. Maybe they're getting ready to move from intern into offers or opportunities that will emerge with the company. The most upside we've seen at NCC is accounting and legal. But there is potential upside in any industry that hires interns. I know enterprise rent-a-car is a big one for that. Liz, thank you. Radio and TV stations do as well. Yeah, so understanding where these college grads might slide in, then you'll see some food opportunities that'll emerge from that. So inquire if they hire interns, which allows you to move into the VBR. If they say no, then move into some other question there, line of questioning. If they don't have interns, don't go with National Intern Day. Obviously, I hate to point that out, but it's true. You can then move into end of summer kind of opportunities and discussions. So those are the four. I know it was lean. This is your always enduring plan to plan, build your list of targets, build out the list of the top VBRs, prepare, always schedule your time, over schedule, I always would say. So if you say, I want to spend 10 minutes selling next week, put 15 on the calendar, because then if somebody takes 5 of them from you to do something else, you're still back to where you want it to be. It's kind of like setting your alarm 5 minutes. You're setting your clock 5 minutes early. It's the same concept, over schedule. Give every lead an A, B, C grade, and then build a hierarchy. Do your A's first, then your B's, and if you run out of time, let them run out on the C's. So always rate your opportunities high. Bring goodies when you can. So start 4 to 6 weeks ahead. Again, the listening window. And then your best cold stuff days, we like to say, are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9 to 11, 1 to 3. We want to avoid Monday. People hate Mondays. Friday afternoons, not very good. Middle of the day at lunchtime, the person that you want to talk to is likely not there. And then early in the morning, end of day, again, I'm hectic in the morning. I'm checked out in the end of the day. So stick to those windows. But if you can do 12 hours of outreach, visiting folks, doing whatever you need to do between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, between 9 to 11 and 1 to 3, you will have more leads than you know what to do with. If you just be consistent in your activities, though. Consistent. If you can only do 1 day a week, do one. But be consistent. That's the key here. So you don't overload leads and not have enough at other times. Yes, Matthew, we'll go ahead and we'll keep that there. Matthew, okay, I'll see if we can get an email and we'll send it out to you. If not, you can message us and I'll have my email address here shortly, but I think we should be able to keep that and send it to you. But yes, we'll be happy to. All right. So other highlights from the catering calendar, Postal Worker Day, July 1st. I have seen some have success with that in the past. It is hit or miss from city to city. The 4th of July, obviously, you've got, think American Legion. You can think of anything in the military wise that might be some opportunities. If you work at Mo Betta's and National Hawaii Day as a built-in holiday for you guys, but if maybe you just have some really cool drinks on the menu or some cool dessert items or something that you'd want to celebrate National Hawaii Day, go for it. Get to know your customers day. I think, again, it's one of those that just pops up on the calendar. I don't know how relevant it is. National Drive-Through Day, and I did forget that second parentheses there, Danny. So food holiday, fried chicken day, ice cream day, National Bagel Fest, chicken wing day, cheesecake day, all food holidays that if they're relevant to your brand, you can build into a VBR, right? Hey, I know you guys have some meetings that you probably do off and on with National Bagel Fest Day coming up on July 26th. If you have a breakfast, we are amazing with bagels. If you're Einstein or if you're one of the bagel brands, just think through where you can benefit from those and use it as a VBR to call your clients and see what you can do. So the last segment here, we got about 10 minutes I want to touch on. I love this. I think this is, if you ever wanted to self-manage yourself, which I don't know how you are, I self-manage myself all the time. And one thing that I've learned with AI, and I know this old guy in AI, but I love what it can do for me to help me grow. So, three things I wanted to touch on real quick. But I'm going to teach how to use AI for use case discovery, which is an important part of VBR sales, and performance management, how to manage yourself. The first one is choose your prompts carefully. It might take you 5 or 6 times asking the question the right way to get what you're looking for. Don't give up. Be patient. It's learning you at the same time. Any AI system seems to work just fine. So we have tried ChatGPT, Grok, and Gemini, all with consistent, not exactly the same, but consistent results, and then take the information you've learned in stride. So the more specific you get, the more specific responses you'll get, and you may go off track a little bit. And AI has been known to create or fabricate an answer for you as an attempt to satisfy. So be very conscious about being overly specific. So again, the free AI versions did work great for me. So if you don't have to worry about buying a subscription, anything, you do have some limited prompt requests before they say, nope, you have enough for the day. Find a way to record your phone call. Make a sales call to someone, find a way to record it if possible, whether it's on your phone opportunity. We have in-house where we can record phone calls that we're making for training purposes or whatever. Get a free Slack account. You can get the free one that you don't have to pay for. And what you do is you get the call recording, you upload it into Slack. Slack will transcribe it for you for free. It's just built into their technology there. And then you can upload that transcription into AI. So, and then it'll evaluate it, which is really cool. I love it. I'll show you some examples here shortly. There's probably other ways to get a transcription done, other software. I'm just giving you kind of an easy example. If you know of other ways to record your call and to transcribe it, more power to you. Do your thing. My goal is I just want to give everyone a solution if you're looking for one. So the first prompt for use case discovery, and again, we'll send this to you, that the text on the page isn't overly relevant other than I want you to kind of see what it does, but you'll be able to read it when we send it to you. So this is what I put in there. Hi there, I'm a catering sales professional. With Waste and Recycling Workers Week coming up soon, I need to call waste companies. And I spelled companies wrong there. Can you tell me what reasons those types of companies have to buy catering during the year? And then it said, waste management companies may purchase catering services for various reasons throughout the year, often tied to business operations, employee engagement, or industry-specific events. Here are the key reasons based on the operational and cultural needs of such companies. And then, bam, 7 VBRs spit out in a row just for waste companies. Employee appreciation and morale boosting events, training sessions and safety meetings, corporate meetings and client events, industry conferences and trade shows, holiday parties and seasonal, community charity events, facility open houses or tours. It gave me 7 right off the top. And now I can use any of these 7 when I'm calling. Hey, Waste Management, this is Byron. I'm with ABC Restaurant. How are you? I see Waste and Recycling Workers Week is coming up very soon. And I was kind of going through with some of my previous clients that have worked in this industry, and they said, you guys tend to have training sessions and safety meetings frequently during the year. Is that something that you do? And are you doing something to celebrate the workers, recycling workers week? And so now I'm not just asking, hi, this is Byron, do you cater? Now I'm Byron with this really huge opportunity that I'm presenting to them saying, we can do this for you. We fit this specific need you have. We work with groups for training sessions all the time. They love our product because you're not gonna fall asleep after lunch. The portions are good carbs, good proteins, whatever your selling points are. But now you've got some built-in, and you can do this for any. I did it for real estate. I did it for engineering. I did it for there was one other that I thought was trying to be a little bit complicated. Architect firms, because some architect firms will have vendors that do software that want to come in and do a lunch and learn style meal like a pharmaceutical rep might do for a doctor's office. So what I loved about it was give me 7 really cool points. And then it gave me timing and relevance to Waste and Recycling Workers Week. What kind of events do they do in the spring and summer? What kind of events are in the fall? And which kind are in the winter time? And I was like, wow, not only is it giving me VBRs for 7 of them for me to go after why they might cater. But now they're telling me what time of year is the best time to reach out. I just think that's fantastic when you start looking at the opportunity to be able to not only have topics to reach out and have conversations about, but what time of the year does each one work best? I think it's, and listen, this is a 30-second response. I'm telling you, everyone can do this. So what I loved at the end was give me tips for my sales pitch. It gave me highlight sustainability. This is a recycling and waste workers company. So focus on how your catering service minimizes food waste, how you handle composting, how you handle all those things. That's a great topic. It's a great point. If that's something that your restaurant is really big on, now you can highlight that in a call to the business that wants to hear it. Offer flexible menus based on what kind of events, customized for events. So it gives you not tips for your sales pitch as well. So again, a 30-second investment of asking it a question and it gave everything. So Danny, any thoughts or
I
points?
don't know how I don't know how I functioned without ChatGPT and Grok before because it just opens up a whole new avenue of thinking that you might have not thought about on the spot. It can just be a thought starter for you. So I have found AI to be an amazing tool that helps supplement my presentations.
And if you're on LinkedIn, I know everyone, listen, there's a lot of arguments back and forth about, oh, should we use AI, whatever. I'm not saying have it write all your scripts and
No,
templates
right.
and menus and emails, but to help you think, I'll be honest with you, I'm at a point in life where in my mid 50s where I need somebody to help me think from time to time. So there's a second part I wanted to touch on, and this one is what got me more excited. I love the use case examples. I think those are fantastic. But I asked Kathleen, who's our director of training, to give me a sample call. And what we wanted to do was upload this call that we touched on earlier. So made a call, had the recording, got the transcript, uploaded the transcript into the AI, and asked it. So I'm wanting to know if you can review a transcript call below and provide feedback about how I did on the call. And I'm only giving you the top two or so here. It was 5 or 6 points for all of the strengths. So to give you your strengths, warm and professional rapport. And then it was like 5 or 6 different things that gave positive feedback. It gives you areas of improvement, saying, okay, here's where you could have capitalized more on a buying signal. So like the opening pitch about Free Food Fridays. This is a business chain out there that does free food on Fridays for their employees, and that's what they call it. While it's relevant, it lacks a compelling hook to grab Laura's attention. For example, we've helped other action behavior centers make free food free food Fridays a hit with our affordable buffet style catering. Kathleen could briefly highlight a differentiator. So it gives you some areas of improvement. It also gives you recommendations of things that you can do. It also adds additional observations about the timing, the contextual fit, the potential challenges, and then finally, it gives you an overall assessment of how you did and areas you can focus on. And then I asked it a secondary question. Can you tell me what you think an effective follow-up email to Laura might look like? And bam, gave me an email based on the conversation that I just had with Laura that it transcribed. It gave me a specific email that I could send. After the email, it said, I plan on following up in 10 days with a phone call. What should I cover on that phone call? And it gave me bullet points for a phone call. Not saying you have to follow it to the T, but let it help you think. Maybe it opens a mental door that you had not opened prior. It is a real easy to do. I've tried it. I've taught some of our folks to do it, and now they're all loving it. It just makes their calls so much more enriching and more effective. So just a couple more slides real quick. Our goal with things like this, the AI, the back to school plan, the second party catering, getting people to sell is all about helping remove barriers so you can get some help. You don't have to do them all. You just pick 1 or 2 things that you can do, and hopefully we'll keep giving you enough tools to be able to fill you up for the remainder of the year. Also, a few more things before we go. The 7-step communication plan is in here for post-qualification sales. So you call someone, you capture some information, you visit, they want more information. Here's a standard 7-step communication plan that you can incorporate for you and your stores. Catermind, the school website there, I saw Arya posted it earlier, but www.school.com/catermind-6203. You can join our community. We'll have things like our webinars, our recordings. You'll see a calendar for upcoming events. You'll have the free calendar that we were talking about earlier that you can get access to as well. So feel free to join. And finally, thank you. We managed to pull it off, Danielle, in 1 hour and 1 minute. So first of all, thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for kind of helping me out here at the last minute. I know you're going to
Thank
be
you
a
for
part of
having
these.
me.
I know you're going to be a part of these for many months to come. So I appreciate that. If you have any questions, it's Byron at the NCC group. Please feel free to reach out to me. Danielle, can you do one more time your email address? I didn't put it up here, but Danielle
Sure.
at
It's Rev, Jen, GEN, MKTG. So short for marketing, revgenmarketing.com. And I did send you a lead behind, Byron, if you want to send it out so they have it. There you
Yep,
go.
and we'll
Thank
we'll
you,
send thank you,
Aria.
and we'll send it out and post it in Catermind as well, so you'll be able to see Danielle's information if you would like to reach out to her. And I know sometimes for those of you not here, share it with your teams, please. We love to get more and more people watching these and listening to these as much as possible. And if you have any ideas or suggestions about things for future topics, please let us know. We'll be happy to throw them in there for you as well. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the 4th. Enjoy the summer. And we'll talk to you next month, okay? Take care.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.